Hello. And uh, hello and welcome. Let me just adjusting for some first episode technical difficulties. Welcome any and all to the Movie Club Collective. This is a show where each week we share and discuss a different film with a distinguished panel of fellow movie files. I'm your host, John Olson. The way the show works is this. Each panelist on the show nominates a film based on a weekly theme, and then the collective votes for those nominees over on the Movie Club Collective Facebook group. The winning film becomes our topic of discussion. This week's theme was comedy, just kind of in a broad general sense, and the movie that the collective chose was Mean Girls. So without further ado, I would like to introduce today's panelists. First and foremost is my co-host and co-producer, Rochelle Racine. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. On Wednesdays, we were pink. Make sure to head to our Instagram, guys. It's at Movie Club Collective, and we post a lot of, of course, our announcements, but within that, you'll see a lot of, cool fan art posters and other ways to just keep up to date with us. So make sure to check that out.
Cool. Next up, we have Laura Ornella. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. I know John because I was in an acting studio with his wife, Brianna. I'm an actor, comedian, and writer in New York.
Doing all kinds of crazy projects, some fun stuff over there. And last but not least, my old co-host on the first era of the show, Jose Venutila. Welcome.
Yes, hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me again here. I like how you say collective. It makes me think about the Borg.
Nice. Yes, we're like the film Borg.
We're the Borg.
We'll have consensus.
Good.
All right. Before we get started today, I just want to. I'm trying to think of the most appropriate way to do this, but I just want to kind of acknowledge anyone out there who's having a hard time with coronavirus. I know we're all stuck inside, and I've recently, just today, learned of 2 people within kind of 1 degree of separation who have passed away. So I just want to kind of put out my condolence on behalf of the show. And, stay inside, stay safe, and hopefully this will bring a little bit of levity and help you deal with sort of the stir craziness that we're all dealing with to some extent or another. And a big thank you to all the essential workers, be you grocery or hospital or anything in between. Anyone out there still working, running delivery, just big shout out to everyone there.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a weird time. Having all this time though is part of the reason I decided to kind of kick off the show again to begin with, because we're all kind of at home. So without further ado, I guess let's get into the topic at hand. For our return episode, we chose Mean Girls. It had kind of a runaway. My pick was Step Brothers, but
that was the second.
Yeah, it got enough votes that maybe I'll nominate it again later. So just we're going to start each episode with kind of a rundown of information about the film, and then we'll jump right into discussion. So the movie was Mean Girls. The topic was comedy. This film came out in April 30th of 2004, just to make everyone feel a little bit older.
That was the year I graduated high school.
It was the year after I graduated high school.
Maybe going out of college.
Yeah, it was the year I moved out to San Diego. From New York, before I would then later move back to New York. So it has a breezy runtime of 1 hour and 37 minutes. This was directed by Mark Waters, who in the early aughts had a few kind of big films. He directed Freaky Friday.
Also with Lindsey Lohan.
Also with Lindsey. Was it Lindsey?
Yep.
She was the one.
This is the second film they worked on together.
Gotcha. And then he did a Pre-Reconnaissance, Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. but kind of faded out after that. Didn't really do a whole lot in the teens and whatnot. Mostly television. This was famously written by Tina Fey, who also features in the film and recently wrote the book for the Broadway adaptation of this very film. DP was Darren Okada, who also was the DP on Baby Mama, another film featuring both Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. He's done a ton of television, but that was kind of the only notable thing I saw on there related to this. And it stars Lindsey Lohan, Rachel McAdams, and I'm going to throw third billing to Lizzie Kaplan, who plays the not lesbian goth girl. Actress who's been working for a lot of stuff for a long time. Kind of not a household name, but probably should be.
Definitely should be.
So I'm giving her third billing because she features kind of prominently. So this film was nominated by Rochelle. You want to kick us off since it was your pick and let us know maybe why you nominated it and what you like about it, etc.
Yes, of course. Would you mind if I go into a couple of cool factoids about this?
Sure, yeah, however you want to do it.
Okay, so this is based on a nonfiction book, actually about it's a parenting book, which I find interesting. And Tina Fey didn't realize that before she committed to writing the screenplay, which I thought was really cool. Since you were talking about Janice, the actress that plays Janice, there's a couple neat things about her character. So it's her character, Janice Ian, is an homage to Janice Ian, the first Saturday Night Live musical guest.
Really?
Yes. And she was a real life lesbian, the musician. So this was very much based on her. And then at the end of the movie,
this one's not a lesbian.
Right. But it was just
right.
neat.
Yeah, I understand.
And then at the end of the movie, Kevin G, the Indian mathematical dude, asked Janice about her ethnic background, and she says Lebanese. And that's also a joke about lesbianism, which I thought was kind of funny. And
she looks like she could be Lebanese, though.
Yeah, totally. I just Lebanese lesbian.
Yeah, I got you.
But that was purposeful, which I thought was funny. And then Lindsey Lohan played Caddy, the main character, and that's obviously an uncommon spelling for American Girl.
I didn't realize it was a D until I looked it up on IMDb, actually.
Yep, even though they say it in the film.
Yeah, they say Caddy, but I thought they were just Caddy. Anyway.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, and so the theme of the film obviously is female empowerment. And so her name was taken from the maiden name of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, a 19th century pioneer in the American women's rights movement. Very neat, huh?
Nice.
So I chose this film due to the details and the specificity that are in the screenplay. I mean, the writing is brilliant. The character development is absolutely iconic. Everybody knows every character and everybody knows lines, one-liners from every single character.
It is full of one-liners.
Yeah, exactly. So, plus it's very fetch.
Still trying to make it happen, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's better than Gruel. Fetch is way better than Gruel.
That never caught on. It should have.
Yeah, it did not catch on. Well, what did you guys think of it? Laura, what did you do?
Yeah, I mean, I had seen it when it first came out, but I think I was pretty young when it came out, so I don't think I caught half of what Tina had put into this, really. So watching it as an adult, I felt like I understood why it was a hit with literally any demographic in a way. And it kind of reminds me of I feel like it's something that ages fairly well. As an adult, you just get more of those jokes revealed, but yeah, I hadn't noticed Gruel. That was something I wrote down in my notes. There was just so many puns, and it was interesting to me that was her first screenplay, and it was so strong. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, she'd been head writer on SNL for years at this point. Yeah. So it's not like she was an inexperienced writer.
Yeah, no, but like a sketch format, I feel like is really
this,
different than writing a feature.
I don't remember. Had she already been working on 30 Rock at this point?
I don't know.
Do we remember?
2004?
Or is this before? It might be before, actually.
It should
2004.
probably be before. Third Rock. How old is Third Rock?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay, you guys get on that. Yeah. So that like really interested me.
Third Rock is 2006, so this was before.
Oh, yeah.
Just for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big commitment to just jump in. I mean, sketches are one thing, but like a feature is another. And I felt like maybe like her tactic, because it's something that I actually, so when I tried to watch this movie, I accidentally downloaded malware onto my computer.
Oh, no.
John, my boyfriend is also named John, and he was like, next time just like ask me if you want. Like, and it all boiled down to like I eventually just bought it off of Amazon, so this was like a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah, it was hard to find. Like it said it was on HBO.
Yeah, we looked it up and it said HBO, so we were like, oh, easy peasy. But it turns out it's
bought it in the end.
it's only on HBO now.
No,
right?
it's not. I have
It's not
HBO
even.
now.
Oh, so we were lied to by
Yeah, I just bought it.
reference.
It's good to add to the collection. But hey, now we
Me
know.
too. That's how I
Double
felt.
check
Yeah.
Right, because I was like, well, I'm going to want to analyze this again later, because what I was guessing that Tina did was like she used a sketch format for like every scene is how I felt.
There is sketch elements to it all over. Right?
Absolutely, yeah, and just like callbacks, tags, like all of that stuff. I feel like that's maybe the only way I could understand how someone could go like from writing for Saturday Night Live to like one of the most successful screenplays. You know, it's interesting.
Jose, what are some of your?
I don't remember what the last time that I saw this movie. I mean, I knew that I've seen it. I just like I was kind of watching it for the first time. But I mean, it was definitely watching it for the first time after going through film school and then after having several years of working as a filmmaker. And I think if before I liked it, now I'm fascinated by it. I think that I was under the impression that Tina Fey was the writer of everything. By looking at the IMDb page, like it was previously a book, then she adapted into a screenplay, and then probably took a couple of liberties to make it.
Probably took a lot of liberties.
Yeah, to make it more sketchy and stuff. But it's brilliant. I mean, it's as a story, as a flow, as character development, and then as Laura was saying, it holds. I was wondering, like when the film ended, the one thing that the first time that I was like, oh, that's unusual by today's standard is that it was directed by a man. I mean, if it's a film about female empowerment, I mean, it was just not the times yet in which it would be obvious that a woman would have to direct it. So, I mean, I guess that's something.
Today, as in the last couple of years, there would probably be a push to give it a female director, but that's a really new thing, unfortunately.
It's a really new thing. But, I feel that I don't feel that the movie suffered before because of that, but maybe aspects of it are a little more male-oriented and female-oriented, but then again, I mean, that might be just nuance or nitpicking on it. It's highly entertaining. It does bring attention. I mean, I'm not from here. I didn't grow up in the United States. I grew up with American media. So a lot of these stereotypes in high school were a little more defined, or are a little more defined by movies like these when traits are exaggerated. And then one of my favorite characters in the whole movie is the captain of the MAD team, because he acts like
he's great.
He acts like if he's in the football
he's one
team.
of the best.
Like he's proud of what he does. He lives his truth. He wants the jackets for everybody. He's not overly sexual with
his rap is
like,
overly sexual.
Exactly. He's like
his rap got shut down because it was so sexual.
Yeah.
What?
The rap.
His rap.
His talent show
rap
rap
was shut down. Yes, but that's an unusual, and it's an unusual depiction, and I think it's a meaningful one for the type of character and the type of demographic that it represents. Just like a quick note, but I know we're generalizing right now before going into detail, but that's what I have to say.
I really loved his confidence in that character. Like, he was just that kid that, like, everything he does, he's like, I'm good at, even if he's not. you know, that like deluded self-confidence that always gets people exactly what they want.
Yeah.
But it was charming. It wasn't.
I think that I'm a little more mixed on my opinion of this movie than I feel like generally you guys seem to really like it. I'm a little 50-50 on it. I think it's got charm up the the wazoo. And it's got like really great character moments, and I think the sketchier moments really work. But it is very tropey. It has a lot of kind of tired cliches, I would say, even by 2004 standards. And like the general plot is, I don't know, it's extremely simple, and it's not. I'm not so crazy about it, but I do. There are things I like about it a lot. Like there are like the little characters in those small character moments that I think really shine. But also like, there is a lot of, I don't know. There's a number of things in it that haven't aged so well, I would say. The generalization of the cliques.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Yeah, the generalization of the cliques is one. What's her name? Gretchen. No, not Gretchen.
The dumb one?
No, the leader. Who's the leader?
Regina.
Yeah, Regina. She uses a word that I have not used since probably around that time. Quite a bit. The R word. Yeah, we'll say that.
And there's the N word in there too.
Oh,
and that's not,
is there
what word?
The N word?
Yeah, one of like
I missed it.
The like cool Asian clique.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
When
when they're in the like the workshop to become better women. Yeah.
They write it on the screen. Yeah.
That little bit is not acted well, in my opinion. But
some of the some of the homophobia, like it is, like clearly like it's clear that like Tina Fey's not homophobic, but some of the humor is just kind of an earlier time, dare we say?
Totally.
Right.
So there were certain elements like that I did kind of feel like haven't aged great, and then just certain things plot wise kind of bugged me. If we can get into it a little bit, what's her name? The Lizzie Kaplan's character. What was her name? Janice Ian, I feel like is kind of an antagonist in this film, and she never really gets called out for it, and it just bugs me. This is something that bugged me about it like way back, is that like she's mean. She's mean both to Regina and to Lindsey Lohan, and it's her idea to start the whole plot. Like she literally pushes her into it. Like she instigates everything and never apologizes or gets called out for anything. Like
in fact, she brags about it.
And the nicest thing in the movie that she does is put Lindsay Lohan in a painting, and we get the moment delivered to us with her just like chucking it at her face, essentially. Wait a minute. Fight me on it.
Okay. I have something to say about that, but
Rochelle's first.
She brings Katie, Lindsay Lohan, into her friend group, which is a nice thing. And although I completely agree that there was like no responsibility placed on her character at all, there is a moment where Katie is like, "This was your idea, dude," but because it got so out of hand, and at the end of the day, Katie took the reins.
Yeah, it happens when Katie's already turned into an asshole, though. Yeah. Right? Like, so she doesn't have that much of a leg to stand on by the time she defends herself.
I kind of felt like it was strange that Janice never really had to tell Katie how she was wronged by the plastics, and that Katie just blindly trusted her and like moved forward with the plan.
Yeah.
But that's like a sense of belonging for a teenage girl, especially when you move from somewhere that's into the States.
I didn't think that Janice was like necessarily to blame, but it did seem like there was little. I don't know. There could have been a little bit more clarification and like setup with her.
I just felt like I kind of felt like it had setup and that it lacked payoff was kind of how I felt about it.
Well, what would your payoff have been?
I just wanted to see some amount, like, because when they make up as friends, I feel like Lindsay Lohan is very apologetic, and Janice is like, "You're not an asshole anymore, right?" Like, she's not apologetic at all, and I thought that it should have been kind of mutual because they both make mistakes.
What mistakes did you see Janice make?
Well, the fact that she does push her into it, and she instigates the whole thing, right? Like, it doesn't happen without her being like, you have to hang out with the plastics so that I can get my revenge on Regina. Right?
I feel like Katie was like on board for it, and whether it be like bizarre, like in my world, I was like, it's bizarre you're on board for it, and you like barely know this Janice girl, but that's like a movie plot.
Right. They justify it with her being so desperate for friends that she's
right.
like willing to do whatever.
And then I felt like the justification was that she, like, obviously Katie loses herself, so yeah, like Janice would feel wronged in it. And it's like, how do you wrap it up if like they don't remain friends? Like in the real world, it's like maybe there'd be a longer conversation with more dynamics. But
sure.
At the end of the day, this is not a Disney movie, right? Or is it?
No, this is Lindsay Lohan's first non-Disney production.
Oh.
Yeah, even though it was directed by the guy who did Freaky Friday.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say they are similar in style, so
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the direction in general is pretty good. The camera work always kind of supports the mood really well. Before we move on from Janice, though, a thing that you brought up, I'll let you just one sec. Was that because I wanted to address the idea that like she never explained her hatred for Regina, and I think that that's where the movie has the biggest problem with sort of the homophobic elements is that she is embarrassed at being accused of being a lesbian, right? Despite the fact that her friend is gay, like she is embarrassed at the misconception. And like, I feel like that's the part that just hasn't aged well. I just wanted to.
And and they make sure that she ends up with a guy at the end, which I found really interesting.
Yeah. She doesn't come around to being like, oh, she was right.
They all do.
Yeah.
Or just even questioning it. It's like, I think for the sake of like a mainstream movie, they're like, oh, like we shouldn't leave this door open. Like Janice is not gay.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we screw with a man. Yeah, I found that interesting.
Yeah. I would have been fine with her in question. Sorry.
Yeah. Like today's standards, this is not a feminine power positive message, really, at the end of the day. Not anymore. And Al grew up pretty quickly. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Jose, what were you going to say?
I mean, being scrutinized, then yes. I mean, being scrutinized, I challenge anybody to find anything that will stand the test of time, especially if it's before the era of awareness. Like, you know, like I like it when people start banning.
It's a slow awareness, though, right?
It is a slow awareness, but I enjoy it when people start banning either celebrities or famous people that have done something wrong, and then sometimes I wanna go like, let's just burn all the Picassos. Let's just fucking bring the Sistine Chapel down. Like, you know, like if you want to be that adamant about things, then let's just destroy all art that have ever been created in planet Earth. You know?
Now we're not being that harsh on it.
That's my own personal quarrel about that. The point that I do want to bring is like I haven't seen. Like I'm enjoying this because there's a lot of aspects that I haven't seen it. I usually process movies very mainstream in that sense. So everything that you guys are saying about like the little details about like she being offended of being called a lesbian doesn't hold up to the standard. Like, you know, like I like that amount of awareness. But the one thing that that I the thought process that came with everything you were saying is the fact that she wasn't apologetic about that. And then there is this perception that victims are better people than perpetrators. And then that's universal. That's usually universal. Like if
because victims are victimized.
I know, but victims like it's the whole plot of let's say TV series like SVU. You know, like as long as you say that something bad happened to you, everything that follows needs to be believed. And then whoever you're pointing a finger, then the law needs to change for them to be guilty before they are proven innocent, opposite to being innocent before they're proven
I'm
guilty.
not sure I understand the point you're trying to make.
What I mean is that we live in a world that is very desperate to balance and equal things. That I mean, this is something that Colleen, actually my ex-wife, once when we were having a conversation, she told me. She said when there is a transition, things need to be pushed in the direction that they have never been pushed before in a way that is uneven for it to be back into normality. So we have this natural perception that a victim is to be believed and a victim is a better person than the people that wrong them. And that's not necessarily true. I mean, that's a statement.
How does that relate to Mean Girls?
It relates that she gets a pass of being an asshole because she was wronged by Regina first.
But she doesn't get a pass. She does not. She doesn't.
Not by you, John, but
Not by you, but by everybody.
But no, in the movie, Lindsay Lohan does not get a pass. She has to publicly apologize.
No.
And like, right?
Janice gets the pass.
Janice gets the pass.
Yeah.
Janice gets all the passes.
I didn't give her a pass. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, like what did she was wrong first. She was kind of like socially awkward on the side.
So you're on my side.
She didn't even belong to a specific group.
Is that right?
Oh, what?
Yeah, it sounds like you're on John's side.
Yeah, it sounds like you're on my. He always sounds like he's arguing against me, even if he's arguing with me.
What are we talking about? That Janice.
You always have to get so heady. I just want to let's stay on the movie.
I really thought you were going to disagree with John, and this is a really nice twist.
It was really strange. I didn't see it coming.
Oh, that I agree that she's getting a pass.
Yeah. That she might not deserve it entirely. It didn't start off that way. All right. So I had something else I was going to bring up, and I completely forgot it because of not spaced out. I was trying to follow your.
So we're talking about
political.
Janice Ian, but we wanted to move on.
Yeah. So, Rochelle, you had something that you wanted to bring up that you mentioned.
So
before.
there is a lot of comparison of this movie and the film from '89. Right, with Winona Ryder, Heathers.
Heathers, yes. And they're both on Broadway right now.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, there's like a Heathers musical. They're surface similar.
Right?
Yeah. Like the kind, or they're not even surface similar. They're thematically similar, right?
Yeah.
But they're tonally very different.
Dark.
Yeah, Heathers is like about murder and stuff, and sure, Regina gets hit by a bus, but it's a freak accident.
Yeah,
and no one gets murdered. Yeah, the comparisons are out there, but I'm not sure I agree with them. I
don't agree. I mean, it's if you're not looking beyond the fact that like girls click and these films put that on a pedestal, then yeah, it's not going to be any different, but this film, Mean Girls, like they transform and become better people.
Yeah. I mean, Heathers is about toxic relationships and that sort of thing, and this one is too, to an extent, but it's
that's what happens in girl clicks typically,
at least in films. Right?
in life.
I wouldn't know.
Exactly.
It's an interesting kind of comparison, but I feel like they are like pretty different. Whatchamacallit? This movie it's kind of gained a cult status, right?
Yes.
I feel like just kind of relating to our Facebook group, we put up like the poll of people's favorite genres, and like cult movies like went way high on the poll which kind of surprised me. But I think this would kind of like fall into that. It's always
Oh, definitely. There's a holiday like October 3rd. People
right,
like,
which
make
is
that a thing.
yeah. The memes make a thing of everything, though, don't they?
Yeah,
I mean, we are wearing pink.
we are wearing pink.
See?
It is Wednesday.
And it is Wednesday.
So, yeah, I don't know. Were there any other thoughts on
I
any
want to talk
elements
about
of the
Amy
film?
Poehler's character.
On whose?
I want to talk about Amy Poehler's character.
Oh, the mom? Yeah, let's
Okay.
talk side characters because
Yeah.
there's a lot of great side characters. Kick us off.
Tim Meadows practically got typecasted with this movie into that role in several TV series. I've seen Tim Meadows being that character for so many things and
Tim Meadows is
like
great.
he's the same character in the Goldbergs. He's the same character. Like I've seen him in several iterations of being either a teacher or a dean or somebody who is like that same personality. But it feels that like going back to 2004, being like, oh crap, you've been doing this for for 16 years. Like I don't know if that
he's another SNL. He's another SNL alum. A Tina Fey contemporary.
As cast or as writer?
He was an actor. He was a member, cast member.
Cast?
Yeah.
I don't remember him as cast.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's where he starts.
Like...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure him and Tina Fey overlapped. Like he was on during kind of the Will Ferrell era of SNL.
Yeah, and yes, correct. No, you're right. Now that going back to Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
But Amy Poehler, like that character, like how much is this movie saying that this behavior is being learned or passed on?
Yeah, it's interesting that she's like, the daughter wears the pants, like even with her mom, like especially with her mom.
Being bullied. The mother is being bullied constantly by the daughter.
Yeah.
But is the mother trying to emulate the daughter, or is the daughter trying to emulate the mother and eventually surpass the mother? That's the question that I'm asking. It's like
The latter.
Did this behavior started with the mother and then eventually overcame the mother, or this behavior is, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's probably I mean I don't know how seriously I would want to analyze that character, but I would say the latter. That like
The latter. I mean, we see it in the little daughter, that Regina comes home and she's like, what's that? My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and she's like doing inappropriate dancing for her.
Right. And taking off her top and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And this is a pre Parks and Recreation Amy Poehler when her character types weren't like, they were a little more extreme before. Like I feel like ever since she did Parks, she became known as like, Leslie Knope and like the nicest person on the planet. But like before that, she used to play either these really caustic characters or just these like really hardcore obnoxious characters.
Yeah, she used to be a lot of a villain, like in Blades of Glory and stuff. Like
Yeah, or even like Baby Mama, where she's like very obnoxious.
That's why Sisters is interesting, because it inverts the roles that they usually played when they played together.
Oh, I still haven't seen Sisters. Maybe we'll have to.
You haven't seen Sisters. I feel that it inverts the dynamics that usually Amy Poehler and Tina Fey have.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I've seen that.
Sisters is a pretty good movie.
It kind of came and went, like without a lot of fanfare.
And then like they mentioned, I think that there is a recurring joke with Tina Fey about Asians, because she does the same thing about saying, but she goes the cool Asians and the other, and what's the first, like the brainies, and then the cool Asians. Like she does that also in.
Well, she falls into stereotypes a number of times in this movies, like where first she assumes that the black girl in class is from Africa.
Oh,
right.
To go off that, and the one that really bothered me was when they were giving the tour of like the cafeteria map, and she said the unfriendly black girls.
Yeah. That map, by the way, she quickly draws up the most detailed map
Yeah,
of the
what was that?
school. It was like
Well,
the
she is an
Marauders map
artist.
from Harry Potter or something.
She's an artist, I guess.
Yeah.
Not, you know.
I was impressed. I was like, she did that.
Me too.
She did that right quick.
It is like the Mordor's map.
Yeah, a lot of effort into it. Yeah,
Well,
my favorite characters were Tim Meadows and the mathletes guy that we mentioned
the
earlier.
mathletes guy. He's my favorite.
Hilarious.
I love it when he picks the bat. When he picks up the bat and then he takes the shirt and he's in the other shirt and he just goes over there. It's like never in this amount of years. Like when he picks up the bat, he goes like, you see, like, oh fuck.
What does he say? He said, "I didn't leave the South Side for this."
Yeah.
I like how his carpal tunnel keeps getting worse throughout the movie.
Yeah, it's these little jokes like that. Oh, my carpal tunnel came back.
They had to write that in at the last minute because he broke his hand.
Nice.
Oh wow.
You know, sometimes life provides you with the best stuff. You know,
It does. Yeah, it does.
I don't know, Laura. Did you have any sort of like favorite characters or lines or anything?
Let me see.
I-
What were you gonna say?
Nothing. Go.
Oh, okay. No, I really enjoyed like every time Regina kept saying she wanted to lose 3 pounds. I don't know.
Oh, you look great. You don't need to lose a thing.
Yeah. I thought that it was like that's kind of like what led me to think a lot of it was like sketch setup, just because there were so many callbacks like that, and her at like the lunchroom table bringing that up again. It's like it almost seemed like this is a routine and like this is what Regina says every day and this is like what we do, and it was like really interesting, like the habits that she like let the characters form.
The rule of threes is in heavy effect in this film.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Heavy.
Oh yeah.
And then there were like a lot of like skewed things, of course, that like didn't age well, but there was one line in particular that I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with aging, but I just wrote it down. It's like ex-boyfriends are off limits to friends. That's just like the rules of feminism. I just really liked that every like dynamic had their own rules of feminism, and the plastics even had rules of feminism, because I think it's Amanda Siegert's character that says that. So yeah, I don't know. That was just like kind of interesting that they would even like consider feminism in their group.
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried's character is so strange. She has no character arc of any kind in the film. Like, and like she just is as vapid as she's presented to be initially.
Yeah.
And you like think for a moment, I do kind of like that scene where you think for a moment that she's going to have like a deeper moment where she's like, you're not dumb. And then she has the thing about the boobs.
Yeah, right. The weather, right?
Yeah, the weather.
I have a fifth sense.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, oh no, she just is that.
She never like really plays a character like that again either in her movie career.
This was her first feature film.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm. And
I mean, she's funny. She does a good job with it.
You know what's? She's never played anything like this again. And like, had I just seen that and really not followed her after that, I would have been like, but she's brilliant. And I think that it's very obvious in the few lines that she has and how she delivers them. Like every single thing that she says, we repeat. Every single thing that she says is a gif or a meme.
She's just nothing but classics.
Like, there's is her name Tara Reid? I find it interesting that like Tara Reid is an actor that plays that type of character all the time, which is like the dumb blonde.
Right.
And like kind of what she's still cast in today, if she even still acts. I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, she's doing like straight to VOD kinds of stuff.
But like that's just so. I think it's kind of like a test to like a sort of like testament to like all these young actors where everybody grew into like all these different types. Like Rachel McAdams has not had like a mean girl role since that.
Rachel McAdams has gone on to prove herself to be a phenomenal actress.
She was nominated for an Academy Award.
Yeah. Rachel McAdams is great. I think it's kind of funny the journey that Lindsay Lohan goes on in this movie somewhat parallels her real life
I know.
journey. Like she goes from the innocent good girl ponytail look to like that dolled up, like overdone. It's just too much. And like that's what then happened to her from this movie on. Like from this to Herbie is like her transformation, her transition from the like art kids to the plastics. It's really, it's like
there's one thing that I want to say. Like, I don't think. I mean, I do understand. I do understand the differences between like playing this character and playing a character in a subsequent movie, like in most of these, like Amanda Seyfried or what's her name, or Rachel McAdams. But I I don't think these characters are easy to play. I think that I think that from the moment that you see a person like Rachel McAdams like doing Regina the way that she does it, you are like, this is not, it's not to be assumed that it is natural for a person, especially for a woman, to be able to portray that, to be able to, for them to say that after that and they became great. I think that the point is that they are great at doing this thing, like the believability of this.
I said that she's gone on to prove she's a great actress.
Yeah. Regina is a hard role because you're the antagonist, but you also want everyone to love you. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm just like those girls. I loved her.
I hated Regina, but I kept feeling like I'm supposed to. So good job. Like,
yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, in terms of the acting part, I think what John might have been saying, and like this is my opinion as well, like, I feel like they were just so young to be that good at what they do and then like escalate from there. Like in terms of like how on camera acting wise, like how Rachel McAdams handled everything, I was just so impressed. Like
she was 25 when she shot that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really young. And I feel like you don't really, like, even at 25, it's like you haven't been out of school that many years to like have a ton of on-camera experience. So like to be able to, I don't know, handle a role like that's really impressive.
Yeah,
I think it's not easy. I try to put myself in any representation of a stereotype done as well as they did it, and I don't think I can come with it, because I've seen in this industry people trying to emulate that, people trying to go for a stereotype, people trying to exaggerate a stereotype and then falling flat. Like the depth, like within,
because she does bring a humanity to it, right?
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, the way when they learn Lindsay Lohan's character into the table the first time, like all she's been hearing is that these three women are mean and are bad, and then she needs to be wary of them. And then they lure him into it, and then she is so good at having her sit, just presenting a complete different face that then slowly is gonna keep changing. She doesn't rapidly becomes mean to her. She first lures him in, gives her a taste of power, gives her a taste. I mean, it's very clever. It's a very clever social interaction in order to bring one person into one's ranks, and then because also she's seeing her as competition.
Yeah,
like she brings her in because she acknowledges, she sees her, and she goes like, you are beautiful, so then you need to be with us, otherwise I don't want you as competition. I don't want to have this other person creating a completely different group. Like she understands that this new person is going to draw resources. So there is a lot of political aspects in this thing, like socio-political within small scales. But I think it's brilliant the way that they do it, and the way that she makes it.
Keep your enemies close.
Right.
Yeah. I love them.
You know who's forgettable as all hell in this movie was the love interest. He was like
Shane Oman.
He was like the B version of Brandon Routh, like the guy who
got picked
Superman.
over James Franco for that role.
Oh wow!
Weird.
I'm kind of glad though. I feel like James Franco would have like stole too much attention.
Agreed. Yeah.
And, like,
James Franco doesn't have the same innocence that this guy kind of has. This guy is like so doofy. You're like, he's just like a baby. He's so innocent.
Yeah.
What was he doing in calculus though? If he's bad at math,
he was a senior.
How did he get in the class?
He was senior calculus.
I didn't take calculus in my senior year. It's not automatic. Like,
Well, maybe in Michigan it is.
yeah.
Or Wisconsin. They're in Wisconsin.
Oh, did they say? I couldn't. I was like trying to
Sort
figure out
of.
where
They're be going to Madison for a concert at some point. So
Yeah,
I'm
she
just
represents the
She
university.
lives in Evanston. She doesn't. They can just drive to Madison, but I'm pretty sure
okay.
she's in Evanston.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So where is Evanston?
Illinois.
Illinois. Okay.
They
Yeah,
added, I think they added in Illinois. Yeah, you're right. They added in
Because
Illinois.
it's like a really another thing about it is like Evanston's a really expensive area to live.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Makes sense that
Yeah.
like the Georges would live there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and her parents like she's like she's not tenured, but she gets offered like a
She gets
nice
offered
position.
she gets offered tenure at
Yeah, she does, right?
Northwestern.
So that makes sense. Okay.
So yeah, so they're well off, and it's clearly like supposed to be a fairly rich school, hence Tim Meadows' line about the South Side.
Yeah.
So Chicago. Yeah, great. That makes sense too.
That does make sense.
Totally.
All right, I think this is around the time we want to wrap up. In the future, this is around the time that we'd like to address comments. I'll give a shout out to Andrea Redmount right now for leaving a comment. Thank you so much for leaving a comment. Hopefully we'll get kind of more engagement as the show goes on. And if people have questions or anything like that, or just comments that they want or opinions about the movie that they agree or disagree with us, I'd love to be able to address them. Yeah, shout out to also Haley Riley just for commenting. Appreciate that.
Hi, Haley.
Even just to let us know that she's watching. So this was fun. Right now, what we're gonna do, since we don't have a lot in the way of comments, which we kind of expected, this is our inaugural kind of outing. We're going to announce next week's film. So as I mentioned before, poll goes up. We're trying to put it up Mondays, and then we give people Monday, Tuesday, and like the beginning of Wednesday to vote on it. The Facebook group is kind of annoying. You can't pin polls to the top, and polls have like these really kind of obnoxious word
you can do
limits.
that on Twitter. You know, you can pin a poll to the top on Twitter.
Rochelle, we got to do that.
Got it.
So we'll add, I think in that case for not for this one, but for episode 3, we'll throw the poll on Twitter and Facebook. And
We'll link the Twitter down below. We have one right now, but we need to change the name.
Okay.
So we'll link it below in this video shortly after.
Yeah, once we wrap, we'll put it in the description below. But right now, we're gonna call it on the poll, and with a fairly dominating lead, we will. First I'll start with our theme was visually arresting films. So I asked everybody on the panel to choose a film that they felt like just visually kind of blew them away. So our winner and the movie we'll be discussing next week, the movie that we'll ask you, the audience, to watch, so that you can sort of join us in our discussions online and here, is Drive by Nicholas Winding Refn, starring Ryan Gosling. Thank you.
Whose pick was that?
That was mine. I know the people. It's a gorgeous movie. We'll talk more about that. I voted for yours though. I'll have you know.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't vote in this first poll. Side note: me and Rochelle didn't vote in the first poll, but I am gonna vote in future polls, just not for my pick.
What were the other ones again?
So the other ones were Roma, which had 5. I believe you voted for that, Laura. We had Social Network and Sin City. And Social Network and Sin City tied. Not a lot of votes, but I think part of that is that I think it kind of got lost in the shuffle. So we're still working out those kinks, but do keep an eye out for the poll, and we ask you to vote. The more, the merrier. And but Drive kind of won by a landslide this week. It was closer between Mean Girls and Step Brothers. And I actually voted for your film, Laura. Or I would have voted for your film had I voted. That was the thing. Which was Ingrid Goes West. I liked your pick. I do still want to watch it.
Great.
Yeah,
that movie's freaking great.
Good conversation to have.
Yeah, so we are doing kind of a democratic thing, which means that the more known films are more likely to win. I do encourage people to vote for movies that they haven't seen and to actually go out and watch them. That's kind of the point of this whole thing is we've got lots of time. And, you know, I don't always want to sit down and commit 2 hours to a movie. But you know what? I always feel better after I do. Like, I'm always happy I watched a movie. So just try to remember that. So, Rochelle, where can the people find you? Is there anything that you want to plug this week?
Nope. Not much going on in the way of acting. So if you would like to find me specifically, you can find me on Twitter at Rochelle.
Yeah.
You can see it in the description box around me. And then Instagram is Rochelle, like Seinfeld. Yeah. And make sure yeah. What?
Sorry.
I don't know what it is with this generation, but no one knows. Everybody that's like later Gen X knows what I'm talking about. I feel old. Yeah. It's probably because I was the youngest forever before you came into the picture, John.
Yeah.
I'm older than you. You're older than me.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, but you're around my age. You
Almost,
know, everybody else in the family is like older or significantly younger.
Yeah.
Anyways, so please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you could be notified every time we have a new episode. That'd be awesome. We'd love to have you, and thanks for hanging out today.
Jose, where can the people find you if you want to be found?
JAVCH2. That's on Instagram, and you can leave comments there, or the Jose in Paradox from our old podcast too, and our old show.
Do you actually use that Twitter?
That's still on.
Okay.
Yeah. But JAVCH2 on Instagram, it's like the most active that I am in social media. Otherwise, then I'm on Facebook or other stuff.
Laura?
My Instagram is _Laura Ornella, and my Twitter is @Laura Ornella. I don't think I have anything I want to plug, but
we'll have to get you on back when we like get out into society and the theater thing again, and like you have something to plug because you've had interesting things that would have been great to plug.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff I'm like working on. Like I have a podcast I'm working on, and
is it something you can plug now, or you're waiting?
It's not ready yet, but I have the first episode recorded. I just have to edit it, but yeah, it's called Trajectories, and it's basically just me interviewing people and finding out their story.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't have anything yet, so I guess like I'll just have to.
Because if you had it, I'd put it in the comments or in the description.
Once you have it, let us know, and then we can.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. So a lot of stuff in the works, but I'll just keep you guys posted, and John will share it, I'm sure.
Indeed. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I don't really use the Twitter, to be perfectly honest. But you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at John in Paradox. There's no H. Or you can just find me on the Facebook group. Follow our Instagram. That is @Movie Club Collective on Instagram. And we will have the Twitter. We'll announce it next week, whatever we kind of land on character wise. Do we pick one, or is that still up in the air, Rochelle?
We picked one, but I don't have that information directly in front of me.
All right.
And I'm not even sure if it's taken. The one we have right now was like Movie Files Club, but we decided to change it. So
yeah.
Pretend like the conversation doesn't happen.
All right, it didn't happen. All right, we'll have the Twitter soon so that we can do polls and stuff there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And until next time, watch more movies.
And vote for the movies.
And vote.
Get out, vote. Bye.
Bye.